Alright guys, here's the stuff that we're going to be using for today's oil change on the 2010 ML350 Mercedes-Benz. We have a oil drain can, we've got a funnel, we've got our oil filter, which the model is Mobile 1 M1C 253A, and we're going to be using 0W40 Mobile 1 fully synthetic motor oil. We also have a oil wrench for in case it's a little too tight when we're taking off the filter. We also have a 10mm on an extension and a 13mm for the oil sump to drain the oil. And we also have a pick to take the O-rings off of the filter and also the oil dipstick. Alright guys, let's get started. Hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to be working on changing the oil on the ML350. This is the V6 2010 model. It's really simple to do, and the first step is going to be opening the hood. If you don't know how to open the hood, you should definitely take this to a professional to change the oil, but it's really simple. First off, you're going to open your hood. You already popped it. And then under this tray, which I'll show you, you just got to lift up a little and it pops off. We have our oil filter housing. This is a cartridge style, and I'll put it in the video what the model is of the oil filter cartridge we'll be using. Here's your oil filler cap. A good idea what to do is to open this first before you start draining your oil. Always remember to check your manual to figure out what weight oil you'll be using for your car. Now let's go under the car. Alright guys, so we gotta take the under tray off. Here's the under tray. There's about 9-10mm screws on it. Hopefully you still have all 9 on yours. There might be different depending on who worked on your car before. Maybe they changed some, but on this car there's about 9-10mm screws on it. So once you take that off, you can get your drain pan and start slowly unbolting the oil drain plug, which is right there. Alright guys, so we got the oil drain pan under the car. We're going to remove the 13mm nut that's on the oil pan. And this can get really messy, so make sure you have some rags close by. Now on this car, we're going to be using 0W40. We're going to probably fill it up with 8 quarts. And then start it, and then fill it back after it cools down. Remember to make sure that the gasket or washer for the nut is on the bolt when you take it off and out on the oil pan, and always remember to replace it because that's kind of your seal, so you don't have any drips or leaks. Alright guys, so now the oil's almost done dripping. We're going to start taking off the oil filter cap. These shouldn't be that tight, but you might need the wrench to take it off that we showed you earlier. Now let's start removing it.
It actually says on the cap 25 Newton meters.
Now be careful while taking this out. You might want a rag to catch it if there's any drips. But that's the inside. Here's what the old filter looks like. So here's a new oil filter. We're using a Mobile 1 oil filter. The model is M1C253A, and this is for a 2010 ML350, the V6. Now when you open the box, you got to make sure that it has all new seals, which you have to replace, because if you don't, you can have problems with the oil flow and leaking. All right guys, so you're gonna take your pick or something that's a little sharp, and you're gonna pinch off the seals that needs to get replaced. So there's the one on the top. I'm gonna pull that out. That's the cartridge. And then you have one more seal that's a little further down. And then also you got the one on the actual cover that has to come off also. And there you have it. So now we're gonna put the new seals on, and we're gonna put a light coat of oil on them just so that they all seal properly. And then we can put in the new filter cartridge. Alright guys, so now with the Mobil 1 oil filter box, it comes with a O-ring gasket kit. So it's gonna have a couple of extra O-rings in there to match different cars. So you need to make sure that you match it up to what you have on your car. And as you can see, these are the new ones here, and these are the old ones here, and here are the extra, which don't work for this car. So now we're gonna start putting them on back. This should be relatively easy because they're pretty flexible.
Really?
Oh, as far as the cameraman's concerned. There we go. All right. Let's try to get the next one on. And make sure you put it in the same position it was before. They have to be in the correct grooves. Okay, everything's back in the correct grooves. And then once you have them back in the correct grooves, remember to take some fresh oil and just do a light coat on all the O-rings. Alright, so here we have some fresh 0W40, and we're gonna just coat the O-rings with a light layer of oil. Alright, now we're going to take the new cartridge filter. There we go, nice and fresh and new. And we're going to slide it over and push down till it clicks. Or until it's fully seated. Yeah, that looks about right. And now we can reinstall it. Now, if you look on the top cover, it says 25 Newton meters, which, if I remember correctly, I don't think it's very tight. It's usually pretty much hand tight, but just to make sure, I'll convert it to inch pounds or foot pounds, and I'll put it down in the description so you guys can know. But don't go too crazy torquing this, because this piece is plastic or some sort of composite material. The sump nut's back in. We've tightened it to manufacturer specs. We put on a new washer just to make sure everything is all nice and good. And now we're gonna start filling the oil in. We're gonna leave the bottom tray off for now so that we can make sure that there's no leaks. And once we're fully filled and everything looks good, we might run it for a little bit, double check there's no leaks, and then we can put the bottom tray back on. All right guys, here's the oil we're gonna be using. Mobil 1 0W40 European car formula, and it's what's recommended by Mercedes in our booklet. And we got our funnel. Wish we could have found a bigger funnel, but hey, it'll work. If you're an expert, you could try using it without a funnel, but don't say we didn't warn you. Oh, look at the pour. Remember, when you get to a certain point, I think we're about 7 quarts in right now, we're gonna check the dipstick and make sure that the level's good. So we take it out one time, clean it off, and we're gonna put it back in now and see where we're at. All right, still have to put a little more in. We want to get to that top red dot. Guys, we found one more seal that we could replace, O-ring seal on the actual dipstick. So we're gonna try to take that one out, and we're gonna match it up with one from the kit.
Really hard.
And then we're gonna put the new one on. There we go. So now we got the dipstick all sorted out. We're gonna let the oil wait a minute, and then we're gonna check the oil level again, see where we're at. So we're almost there. We might have to add a little bit more, and remember, the oil filter needs to get filled too. All right guys, we've checked the level. Everything looks good right now, so we're gonna put the oil filler cap back on. And now we're gonna put the engine cover. And just so you guys can see, I've already put the under tray back on. We checked to make sure there's no leaks and everything's good. And that pretty much wraps up how to do an oil change on a 2010 ML350 V6. Also, make sure after you drive it for a while to check the oil when the engine's cold again, just to make sure your levels are good and that there's no leaks. Alright guys, until next time, we'll see you later. Thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and feel free to leave a comment below. Please click the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this, and keep racing.